There seemed to be a massive matrix atop Sun Castle. There seemed to be a massive matrix atop Sun Castle. At this point, the sun's fire was not divided into 9 rays, but instead, all of it was falling upon Yi Futian and helping him refine the gate to the ancestral lands. Flames burned beneath the brilliant matrix that was formed from the light of the sun. Everyone around them stepped back due to their terrible power and would not dare to draw any nearer. The cultivators of the 9 great tribes and the 8 other people that they had invited with them were all staring at Yi Futian and the gate. The cultivators from the Wu clan were watching closely, especially Wu Yong. His heart was pounding fast. Wu Yong may have invited Yi Futian twice, but in reality, he would have never thought that the Lord of Qinya City could refine the flames of the Wei and defeat all his opponents, especially Yin Tianjiao, the daughter of Emperor Wu, and Duan Wuji. But now he had succeeded. He naturally hoped that Yi Futian would go even further and open up the gate to the ancestral lands, letting them set foot there. Over the years, any tribe that managed to enter the ancestral lands became much stronger, and their power would increase by leaps and bounds. They naturally did not want to miss their chance. The reason that the Wu tribe had attached themselves to the Zhu tribe was both tribes' power was gradually increasing. When facing external threats, the 9 tribes acted as one, but they would also struggle and compete against each other. Each of the 9 tribes was ambitious. They each wanted to unify the 9 tribes and become their leader. However, without entering the Renhuang Plain, it would be challenging to make the other 8 tribes listen to orders and obey them. But even if they could not unify the 9 tribes, they would still increase their power by entering the ancestral lands. Wu Yong would no longer need to look at that Zhu tribe cultivator's face, nor listen to his orders. As he thought of this, Wu Yong watched closely. He hoped Yi Futian could do it. Duan Wuji and Yin Tianjiao were watching Yi Futian as well. They had all heard of the ruins of Emperor Kwa. It was said that every time they were opened, people would go there to undergo trials. Part of the reason was so that they could become stronger. For people who refined flames of the Wei, the path of refining did not allow you to advance to the next level directly. They must first deepen their understanding of flames. But more importantly, it was rumored that Emperor Kwa had left something behind in the ruins. Those who went to the ancestral lands would have a chance to find and inherit it. Of course, very few people had been able to go there in the past. No one had ever heard of anyone finding whatever it was that Emperor Kwa had left behind. Thus, people still came here. But none of them expected that they would not be able to pass through the gate, as Yi Futian overtook them. Now they could only be observers. Both Duan Wuji and Yin Tianjiao thought that given Yi Futian's talent, he had a chance of opening the gate. After all, they thought of themselves as quite outstanding, and Yi Futian had beaten them using flames, so they naturally had to admit the extent of his power. At that moment, there was a divine matrix formed of sunlight in front of Sun Castle. The sunlight helped Yi Futian refine the flames, and his aura began to rise wildly, becoming extremely strong. It seemed to be helping him reach the peak of the divine path and refine all the flames that he had seized from his opponents. It was not only the matrix that was helping him. The figure that had entered into his body previously had turned into a brilliant flame of the Wei and was assisting him as well. At that moment, Yi Futian had reached the extreme limits of his power. He could even fight with someone at the nirvana level. Of course, most of it was power that came from outside him, and it was just there to help him open the gate. The sun's flames shot towards the gate to the ancestral lands and covered it. However, the gate did not budge. It stood there firmly, and the flames of the great path could not melt it. Yi Futian wildly refined the will within him. He could even feel that the figure that had entered him was at the nirvana level and was refining fire as well. At that moment, he felt that he was at the absolute center of all the fire of the great path in the area. He was drawing in all the power of heaven and earth to try and melt the gate. But he was still unable to do it. Time passed slowly, and Yi Futian still sat in the center of the matrix, bathed in the sun's divine fire. He did not stop for a moment. No one tried to hurry him up. The cultivators of the 9 tribes stood there watching. All of them were at the saint level and thus were very patient. At this point, there was no need to be hasty. The cultivators who had been defeated in battle did not leave either. They stood there watching as well. Several days passed in what seemed like the blink of an eye. However, nothing changed. The flames within Yi Futian's body became stronger, but the gate was not affected in the slightest. It seemed to be an eternal gate that would never open. Yi Futian's eyes were shut tight. He was thinking about what the problem could be. He had taken all the flames from the matrix. If that were enough to open the gate, it would have done so by now. But the gate had not opened. So, where was the problem coming from? Emperor Qua's flames of the way. When Yi Futian thought of this, lines of fire entered the furnace that his body had formed and into his will. In his mind, a fiery god of war stood between heaven and earth, devouring all the flames. Yi Futian's will moved, drawing upon the power of the matrix, and began to refine Emperor Qua's flames of the way. Time continued to pass. When one reached the saint level, cultivation could take a long time. Yi Futian refined for 10 days without realizing it. Some of the people there thought about leaving but stayed anyway, sitting there cross-legged as they cultivated. The cultivators of the 9 tribes were used to this. They were aware of what the gate to the ancestral land was like. It was not easy to open. Even within the 9 tribes, no one could open it. That was why they came here all the time and relied on the power of outsiders to open it. That showed how difficult it was. Yi Futian's perception of the will was getting stronger and stronger. He had already refined quite a bit. In his perception, he seemed to have transformed into a fiery god of war. A figure was coalescing in the furnace of the Great Path and was gradually growing larger. This figure looked like Yi Futian, but it was just an illusion formed of the fire of the Great Path. Its body grew bigger and swallowed up all the fire in the area. Up in the sky, the sunlight grew stronger and changed even more than it had before. It seemed as if the sun's fire would flow along the bridge of heaven and earth to the fiery god of war. Time passed, and the flames burned in the sky. Above the figure that had been formed from will, the firelight reached the sky and merged into the world itself. A powerful burst of will shot through the world. Gradually, Yi Futian became able to perceive the whole ruins. After some time, everything in his perception changed. He seemed to see an incomparably immense figure. It was just like when he had just come to the ruins, but it had become much clearer. There was a huge face in the sky, and the brilliant sun seemed to be its eye. The crimson clouds were its hair, and the vast ruins seemed to be its body, and the fiery magma was its blood. It seemed as if these ruins had been integrated into a god, or rather, these ruins were, in fact, a god. Is that Emperor Qua? Yi Futian wondered this. Heaven and earth seemed to change colors as the whole ruins were dyed red. The sun matrix's power reached its limits, and the figure of the god of war that was formed from flames seemed like it would swallow up the whole sun. There was endless fire everywhere, and it all turned into nourishment for the figure. Rays of divine light shot towards the gate and finally slammed against it with loud bangs. The gate gradually began to change. It looked like it was melting. The entire gate gradually became transparent. It's opened. The Wu tribe cultivator's eyes were bright. Yi Futian had done it. He had opened the gate to the ancestral lands. Wu Yong clenched his fists. Although he was an unblemished saint, he was still obviously very excited by this. He had not expected this stroke of luck that he had invited someone able to open the gate to the ancestral lands. He looked up into the crimson sky and felt his heart pounding. The Wu tribe would finally have a chance to enter the ancestral lands. Lord Yi, the gate to the ancestral lands is open. Please let us, the members of the Wu clan, enter. You may enter as well, but do not let anyone else, Wu Yong said to Yi Futian. Very well, answered Yi Futian. Wu Yong looked around at everyone else and saw a powerful figure standing next to him. It was the elder of the Wu tribe. He looked at the other tribes and said, "This time, it is the Wu tribe who will enter the ancestral lands." On saying this, the whole tribe started forward. The other 8 tribes did not move. This was the agreement that the 9 tribes had had for many years, and they would continue to follow it. Moreover, right now, Yi Futian was controlling the gate to the ancestral lands with help from the Matrix. At this point, it could be said that Yi Futian was at the extreme limit of his power, and could even kill someone who had reached nirvana. He was the one whom the Wu tribe had invited, and thus the Wu tribe had earned the right to enter the ancestral lands. Open! Futian opened his eyes, and terrifying light flashed in them. A fiery hole appeared in the gate to the ancestral lands. The Wu tribe walked forward, entered within it. Once they had all entered, Futian flashed over there and transformed into a beam of fiery light that shot inside. In the next moment, the matrix at Sun Castle disappeared. Everything returned to the way it was before. The gate to the ancestral lands solidified once again. It was closed. Everything was calm once again. The Zhu tribe cultivator had an icy look on his face. B****, spat the burly figure. The Wu tribe had betrayed them. If the Wu tribe had obeyed their orders, then the one to open the gate to the ancestral lands would have been Yin Tianjiao. Should we leave or should we wait? Asked Duan Wuji. His voice was calm. There was no joy or sorrow in it. It was as if this was all perfectly ordinary. We will stay here. You can all leave if you want to, said the Zhong tribe cultivator. Is it all right if we stay and cultivate here for a while? Asked Yin Tianjiao. The Zhu tribe cultivator nodded. Of course. Duan Wuji looked at Yin Tianjiao, then smiled. He had had no intention of leaving, so he stayed as well. The gate to the ancestral lands had opened. None of them knew what would happen there. After Futian and the others entered, they looked forward and saw a stairway off in the distance that went up into the sky. The end of the staircase seemed to be the place where the sun rested, the highest point of Sun Castle. The Wu clan cultivators waited for Futian up ahead. The elder watched Futian walking over. Many thoughts were racing through his mind. At this point, Futian no longer had the blessing of the matrix. But an incredible aura still flowed over him. What had he just gained? After opening the gate to the ancestral lands, would he be the only one who had the chance to get whatever it was the Emperor Kwa had left behind? Futian felt the elder's eyes on him but kept his own eyes forward. He looked extremely calm, but he felt a keen sense of determination. This whole scene made his heart tremble slightly and gave rise to a sense of vigilance within him. This elder of the Wu clan had never spoken to him. Could it be that he had some ideas of his own? For him to pull down the bridge after crossing the river would be nothing new. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Have you gained anything from this, Lord Yi? The Wu tribe elder asked Futian. There was a faint smile on his face, and it did not look like he had any ulterior motives. Have you gained anything from this, Lord Yi? The Wu tribe elder asked Futian. There was a faint smile on his face, and it did not look like he had any ulterior motives. I have been able to refine a lot of will, and have felt Emperor Kwa's majesty. I have benefited a lot, said Futian with a slight smile. The Wu tribe elder nodded with a smile. Thank you for allowing us to come here to the ancestral lands. Without you, we would have never had this chance. No need to be so polite, elder, replied Futian with a smile. As far as I am concerned, I have also gained a lot from this. So I must also thank you for inviting me. The Wu tribe elder smiled at that, then looked ahead. At that moment, Wu Yong was coming over. Elder, Lord Yi, he said, let's go up and take a look. All right. Something flashed across the Wu tribe elder's face as he looked forward. No one could tell what he was thinking. Futian walked forward up the stairway, going higher and higher. It looked like he was walking right into the sun. Lord Yi, did you learn anything about what we might find in the ancestral lands from the Matrix? Asked the Wu tribe elder as he stared up the stairs. My perception has covered the entire area, but other than at the very top, I can't find anything. I did, said Futian with a nod. A sharp look flashed in the Wu tribe elder's eyes, but when he turned to look at Futian, his gaze returned to normal. His eyes were warm and calm. Was it the thing that Emperor Kwa left behind? He asked. Futian shook his head and said, it was a marvelous feeling. Previously, the power of the Matrix poured into my body, and I felt that my body could resonate with the ancestral lands themselves. I feel that a secret way of opening up the ancestral lands can be found at the top. Let's go and see. The Wu tribe elder looked at Futian, then nodded and said, very well. Since you were able to come here, Lord Yi, You must also be able to unlock the secrets of the ancestral lands. I will wait here and see. The Wu tribe thanks you deeply. If you ever need anything in the future, you only have to ask us. Thank you, Elder, said Yi Futian with a smile. A group of them continued forward. You were able to overcome all those heroes, said Wu Yong to Yi Futian. Your future is definitely bright. Unfortunately, the 9 great tribes of Emperor Kwa have no one left within them who is as powerful as you are. Otherwise, given your accomplishments with the flames of the way, we might truly have a chance to truly become Emperor Kwa's heirs. You are too kind, Elder, said Yi Futian with a smile. They continued forward. They eventually came to the top of the stairway. A blazing will descended upon them. The sun was directly overhead and seemed to be very close to them. This was clearly not the sun of the Crimson Dragon realm, but instead was the sun of the ancestral lands. Look over there. Wu Yong looked at the place directly below the sun. There seemed to be a magical matrix pattern there. I will go and look. Perhaps we will find the secret of the ancestral lands there, said Yi Futian. He flashed over there and descended within the matrix. He sat down cross-legged within it. Sunlight fell from the sky, and he was instantly swallowed up by it. Divine light was shining all over him. His body was bathed in endless flames. The great path drew upon the power of heaven and earth. The matrix lit up bit by bit until it was incredibly bright. In a flash, Yi Futian's whole body was covered by the incomparably bright light from the matrix. Radiance continued to fall from the sun. At that moment, many thoughts were running through Yi Futian's mind. How is it going, Lord Yi? Called the Wu tribe elder. Yi Futian kept his eyes closed and seemed not to hear what he said. Lord Yi. The Wu tribe elder's voice grew much louder, shaking Yi Futian's eardrums. Yi Futian opened his eyes, and the Wu tribe elder asked, How is it going? There is an inheritance here, left by Emperor Kwa. Please do not disturb me for a while, and let me perceive this area in peace, Yi Futian said to the Wu tribe elder. The Wu tribe elder's pupils dilated, and his gaze became extremely sharp. There was an inheritance here that Emperor Kwa had left behind? As he watched Yi Futian, a thought appeared in his mind. Why should this inheritance not go to him and his tribe, rather than to an outsider? After all, Yi Futian was just a guest that they had invited to help them fight, not a true cultivator of the 9 tribes. Moreover, he had just claimed that he had felt the thing that Emperor Kwa had left behind. This was undoubtedly very exciting, especially to the elder of the Wu tribe. It was indeed a very great temptation. As he thought of this, the Wu tribe elder walked towards Yi Futian and said, Lord Yi, can I feel it with you? Yi Futian nodded. Very well. As you please, elder. The elder of the Wu tribe walked into the matrix and could suddenly clearly sense the power of this will. It seemed that Emperor Kwa had indeed left his flames of the way in the sun, and they were falling here continuously. The Wu tribe elder stood amid the flames of the way. Lines of will were falling on him and piercing directly into his mind. Divine light covered his body. This was an incredibly mystical experience. It was like he was touching the inheritance of the great path. But Yi Futian was at the center of the matrix, and so the will falling towards the Wu tribe elder was clearly a bit less. He turned his eyes towards Yi Futian, and his gaze became very sharp. He was thinking that whenever one of the 9 tribes went to the ancestral lands, their power increased greatly when they returned. Could it be that they had personally felt the will that Emperor Kwa had left behind here? It was highly possible. Yi Futian and the others who had previously come to the ancestral lands were all outsiders after all. They had only come to help. If there was something useful here, they should naturally give it up to the members of the tribe. Moreover, if there really was a secret in the ancestral lands, was it necessary to abandon future opportunities for the 9 tribes by letting outsiders uncover them? The 9 tribes had fought for many years, but no matter what, they were all of the same bloodline. Thinking of this, he said, Can I sit where you are sitting, Lord Yi, so that I might better feel it? Yi Futian looked up at him. The Wu tribe cultivators were all stunned as they watched their elder. Wu Yong's expression changed. The elder had his own ideas. He wanted to take the inheritance for his own, rather than letting Yi Futian have it. And why shouldn't he? This was the ancestral land of the 9 tribes after all, and this was what had been left behind by Emperor Kwa. Emperor Kwa must have created these ancestral lands. He naturally understood why the elder wanted to be the one to obtain the inheritance. It was just that in doing so, they would be betraying Yi Futian. Elder, let Lord Yi cultivate for a bit. These are the ancestral lands after all, and Lord Yi was the one who opened them, called Wu Yong. He had invited Yi Futian to help the Wu tribe. It was not his wish to betray him. Moreover, Yi Futian was an outstanding talent and had an extraordinary background. Maintaining good relations with him was the best choice. If they betrayed him, it would bring them trouble later. After all, Yi Futian had unlimited potential. Wu Yong's heart raced. He looked at the elder, and his expression changed again. Could it be that the elder had murderous intentions? Did he want to cut out the problem at its root? Yi Futian had unlimited potential, but right now he was very weak. If they killed him now, it would undoubtedly offend Emperor Xia's realm. But outsider emperors could not come to the Crimson Dragon realm and unleash their power. As for the Nirvana-level cultivators in Emperor Xia's realm, if they dared to send an army against them, they would have to face the 9 tribes. Their battle array was not far inferior to that of Emperor Xia's realm. If Emperor Xia wanted to defeat them, how much power would he have to expend? Moreover, the elder probably thought that if he took the inheritance, then his own power and right to speak among the 9 tribes would grow as well. Wu Yong's guess was correct. At that moment, the Wu tribe elder had murderous intent within his heart. The talent that Yi Futian had displayed made him think that rather than form a bad relationship with him, it would be better to cut him down now, ending the matter forever. As a figure at the Nirvana level, his will was firm, but he also pursued his goals with a ruthless heart. Yi Futian looked at Wu Yong. He was a little surprised by the elder's request. He saw him walking towards as if he had not heard Wu Yong, and he said to Yi Futian, "What do you think, Lord Yi?" Yi Futian swept his gaze over him, and the light of the matrix became even more brilliant. Divine fire fell from the sun. In a flash, it was like the flames of the apocalypse were descending. Boom! Suddenly, a look of shock came over the Wu tribe elder's face. He was sent flying back as the descending flames slammed into him. His body began to burn. The matrix around him filled the air. Everything was flames. Yi Futian. The Wu tribe elder swept his gaze over Yi Futian. Could he control the fire of the sun? A pair of eyes seemed to appear in the shifting clouds, looking like 2 great suns. They were vast beyond compare, like the eyes of Emperor Kwa. They looked at the Wu tribe elder. He felt that his body was burning up and that he had no control over it. He retreated with a horrified expression on his face. A booming sound rang out as flames covered everything. It was a devastating divine fire that could destroy everything. "You tricked me." The Wu tribe elder gave a pitiful cry as his body burned up. "From the beginning, I've only let you see what I wanted you to see," said Yi Futian coldly. "Even the inheritance was like this. We came here, but I am the master of this place." The Wu tribe cultivator shot into the sky, trying to escape, but his arms burned away into nothing. A look of absolute terror came into his eyes. When he looked up in the sky, he could only see a horrifying imperial face. "Please spare me, Lord Yi," he cried. "Kill him," Yi Futian spat in a cold, emotionless voice. The fire of the great path continued to fall. The Wu tribe elder's aura swept out at maximum power, but it was no use. His body burned away to nothing under the fire of Renhuang. The Wu tribe cultivators all looked shocked. They trembled as they beheld this scene, with hearts beating wildly. They were shaken by how fast it had all happened. Yi Futian swept an indifferent glance across the disappearing figure. There was no emotion in his eyes. A Nirvana-level cultivator had tried to deceive him, but he had only managed to reveal his ambitions and be destroyed. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Yi Futian was still sitting there, cross-legged. He had not moved at all, but the elder of the Wu tribe, a Nirvana-level cultivator, had disappeared. Yi Futian was still sitting there, cross-legged. He had not moved at all, but the elder of the Wu tribe, a nirvana-level cultivator, had disappeared. The sun was high in the air Futian's head. A huge face had appeared in the sky, and as the cultivators of the Wu tribe looked at it, they felt their hearts tremble. It was the face of Emperor Kwa. Emperor Kwa had rebuilt the ancestral lands. This part of the ancestral lands had been left behind for the 9 great tribes to use. If they could obtain it, it would be a great advantage for them. The thing was, few in the 9 great tribes had been able to pass Emperor Kwa's test and open the gate to the ancestral lands. This was why they found themselves in the situation they were in now. Futian had come to claim the inheritance, and the elder of the Wu tribe had gotten greedy. At that moment, conflicted expressions were playing across the faces of the Wu tribe cultivators. They were all top figures within their tribe. The elder had had his reasons for what he had done, but from Futian's point of view, the elder had tried to kill him, and so he had naturally had to eliminate the threat. They had not wanted their cooperation with Futian to end up like this. Them being able to open the gate to the ancestral lands was really a happy accident. They would have a chance to revive the Wu tribe. But greed was inherent to human beings, and so now they wanted more. This had made it so that at this moment, their very lives were in Futian's hands, not to mention the revival of their tribe. It could be that Futian would wipe them all out with one fell swoop at the slightest provocation. At that moment, Futian was watching the cultivators of the Wu tribe. There was a great sense of tension throughout the whole area. A voice suddenly rang out. The elder of the Wu tribe acted impulsively and was killed by Renawang's flames of the Wei when he tried to claim the inheritance. Futian turned and looked at the one who had spoken. It was Wu Yong. Wu Yong clasped his hands and bowed to Futian, saying, "Lord Yi, you opened the gate to the ancestral lands, making you Emperor Kwa's heir. We in the Wu tribe will always be your friends." The other cultivators of the Wu tribe all looked at Wu Yong. Those of the 9 great tribes who came to the ruins were all top figures. Even if they were not elders, they had still cultivated for a long time and had become very strong. But there were very few of them. They naturally understood that Wu Yong was trying to avoid a threatening situation for the Wu tribe. The elder had tried to do away with Futian, which had led to this awful situation. What would Futian do? Futian had just slain their elder very decisively. If he could kill one of them that easily, he could do the same to 10 of them. After we leave, we will summon the 9 great tribes and announce that the elder was consumed by Renawang's flames of the Wei due to his impulsive actions, chimed in another cultivator beside him. His desire to survive this was quite strong. "Lord Yi, I understand why you just did what you did. You had no choice but to do it. Everyone here is an elder of the tribe, and none of us are in the elder's direct bloodline. As an elder of the tribe, I can control the rest of them," Wu Yong said to Futian. "So, please do not worry, Lord Yi." Futian looked at Wu Yong. His eyes were filled with the light of divine fire. Boom! High up in the sky, the fire of the sun descended, and a giant phantom appeared. It seemed to be the image of Emperor Kwa. He merged into the sun, and flames fell to the ground from him. In a flash, Wu Yong was covered. The cultivators of the Wu tribe were all stunned. Wu Yong's expression also changed slightly. He looked up at Futian and cried, "Lord Yi." Wu Yong's voice resonated throughout the area as he stared at Futian. He seemed to have shown his attitude and disposition. He did not try to escape. The light of the terrible flames covered Wu Yong's body. The Wu tribe cultivators' hearts beat wildly. However, Wu Yong was still standing there. He did not move. The terrible scene that they had been imagining did not occur. Wu Yong's body was not burned, and the flames of the Wei entered into him. Wu was flowing down from the figure of Emperor Kwa up in the sky and going into Wu Yong's mind. At that moment, Wu Yong felt that he had received a great gift from the Great Path, one that had been imparted by Emperor Kwa. If the elder of the Wu tribe had not acted against me earlier, then I would have given the inheritance of the ancestral lands to him. After all, these are the 9 great tribes' ancestral lands, said Futian indifferently. The cultivators of the Wu tribe felt like they were in a dream. They breathed a sigh of relief, but their expressions were still conflicted. Yi Futian had been the one to open the gate to the ancestral lands and was the one who had the right to receive Emperor Kwa's inheritance. He could give it to whoever he wanted. That was how those few tribes that had come here before had been able to become so powerful. The elder had died for nothing. He died because of his greed. If he had not had that off-an idea, Yi Futian would have helped him. But since Yi Futian had guessed what he was thinking, that he was purposely plotting against him, it had led to his fall. A Nirvana-level cultivator had died for nothing. They all sighed inwardly. It was truly tragic. Previously, you all saw that this was not what I wished. I grant what Emperor Kwa left behind to Senior Wu Yong. If he wishes to give it to someone else after this, that is his affair. From now on, Wu Yong should be in charge of the Wu tribe, Yi Futian said to everyone. Wu Yong was an elder of the Wu tribe, and now the inheritance had been passed on to him. Now he would be able to lead the Wu tribe even better. Wu Yong was stunned when he heard what Yi Futian said. But the one beside him said, "He is worthy of bearing the position of elder." The others all said the same thing one by one. Wu Yong nodded, not shirking his responsibility. This must have been fated to happen. The brilliant light of the flames flowed through Wu Yong's mind, but it stopped after a while. When Wu Yong opened his eyes, fire seemed to flash in them. He bowed to Yi Futian and said, "Thank you, Lord Yi." "You should go and cultivate, elder," said Yi Futian, already calling him elder. "Very well." Wu Yong nodded, then turned and walked to the front of the gathered Wu tribe cultivators. "We will go somewhere else to cultivate," he said. "Yes, elder." Everyone followed Wu Yong away. They walked down the stairs. They took care not to disturb Yi Futian. Yi Futian glanced at them. How much of the inheritance Wu Yong was willing to pass on was his own business. He closed his eyes and began to sense the great path. At that moment, there was only one man left atop Sun Castle. He sat with legs crossed beneath the sun. High up in the sky, there was also a massive figure. This scene could be seen from far away. It was incredibly astonishing. Endless will flowed down, descending upon Yi Futian's body. Besides the law power that Emperor Kwa had given him, the scene that he beheld was growing clearer and clearer. It was the figure of Emperor Kwa. It seemed that these ruins had turned into him. His perceptions spread out throughout the ruins, expanding the range he could sense. As he stretched out his perception, the fire flowed towards him. Could it be that there was something else hidden here besides Emperor Kwa's inheritance? It was that previously no one had been able to find it. Otherwise, nothing would have happened. He sat there, calmly, perceiving, letting his thoughts spread out. Time passed slowly. The Wu tribe cultivators were cultivating at the foot of the stairway. Wu Yong's aura was the strongest. Some of the others looked up at Yi Futian and saw that the sun was growing redder and redder. Crimson clouds streamed through the sky. They wondered if Yi Futian would be able to find whatever it was that Emperor Kwa had left behind besides his inheritance. Could he find the secret of the ancestral lands? Or maybe the 9 great tribes had been wrong all these years, and there was no secret of the ancestral lands at all. Maybe Emperor Kwa had only left his inheritance here and waited for people to come and claim it. They did not know if this trip would end up being a blessing or a curse. A powerful aura exploded from Wu Yong, and divine light covered his body. Strange light shot up into the clouds. The cultivators of the Wu tribe looked on in fascination. Wu Yong's aura was already at the level of an unblemished saint. Perhaps he would have the chance to reach the nirvana level before long. Outside the gate to the ancestral lands, no one had left yet. They were still waiting there. No one knew what was going on inside. They could only imagine. However, they could all faintly feel the flame will all around them, flowing towards the gate to the ancestral lands. A long time passed. Yi Futian was still cultivating at the top of Sun Castle. His thoughts seemed to cover all of the ruins. These ruins formed the figure of Emperor Kwa. He could faintly feel a strange aura in the sun at the peak of the ruins. Up in the sky, there was an incomparably brilliant sphere among the sun's flames, which was slowly rotating. There was a powerful aura within it. Rays of light shone out from within it and stretched out into the distance. They covered the whole ruins. What is this? A thought flashed in Yi Futian's mind. His will and his perception floated towards it, trying to enter in. But once they got close, it turned into nothingness. There was no way to touch the depths of the sun. The terrifying thought surged wildly. It melded into Emperor Kwa's will, broke its shackles, and continued to penetrate the core of the sun. Yi Futian saw flames bursting from the brilliant sphere within the sun. They shot out all over the ruins. It seemed that the source of the fire of the great path was here. At that moment, Yi Futian's life spirit, the world tree, began to sway. He felt something. It made his heart tremble. This had also happened when he had run into Feishue. Could this be a treasure like the one that resided within Feishue? There was a rustling sound in his life palace as he thought of the way that he had helped Feishue. The world tree began to spread outward. At that moment, he put the will of the emperor into his life spirit, making incomparably brilliant light shoot out of the world tree. It was like the world tree had its own sun as it stretched out towards the actual sun. A powerful sense of burning spread out, and the will of the emperor that had been melded into the world tree began to burn. But the leaves and branches of the world tree grew even more brilliant as they were bathed in flames, and they began to swallow up all of the fire, even the flames from the radiant sphere within the sun. At that moment, everything suddenly changed. A terrifying vortex instantly appeared inside the sun, and the endless flames around him shot towards it. What is going on? Everyone at the base of the stairs looked up and saw the clouds fluctuating up in the sky. All the flames were flowing wildly towards the same spot. They were flowing towards the brilliant sun on top of Sun Castle. At that moment, it had turned into a black hole sun and was swallowing up everything. After only a moment, the whole world went dark. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Everyone looked at the scene before them in shock. Even the unblemished saints among them had never seen something as shocking as this. Everyone looked at the scene before them in shock. Even the unblemished saints among them had never seen something as shocking as this. The sun hung high above Sun Castle and had turned into a black hole that was swallowing up all the flame power in the ancestral lands. It even seemed like their own flame will powers were being pulled out of them and sucked into it. Wu Yong, who had been cultivating, opened his eyes and looked up at the scene taking place in the distance. His robes fluttered in the wind as he was bathed in endless flame. His eyes that were full of flame will power did not seem disturbed in the least. Had he succeeded? Over the years, many had been able to enter the ancestral lands, but no one had ever really uncovered the secret therein. However, could it be that this time Yi Futian of Qinya City, who they had brought with them, had been able to do it? Solar wind blew by him, incomparably hot. Many thoughts raced through Wu Yong's mind. This trip to the ancestral lands had been full of twists and turns. Yi Futian, whom everyone had overlooked, had crushed the other 8 cultivators and entered the ancestral lands, surprising everyone. But afterward, the elder had wanted to take the inheritance for himself, and so had tried to kill Yi Futian, but had been killed himself. Afterward, Wu Yong himself had been made the new elder and had been granted the inheritance. Now they were going to uncover the secret of the ancestral lands. It was said that Yi Futian had come from Emperor Xia's city. The 9 great tribes were all on the same side. They had once followed Emperor Kwa. And even though Emperor Kwa had fallen, they still dominated the western portion of the Crimson Dragon realm. But there were so many heroic figures in the wide world. Who would have thought that Yi Futian of Qinya City would defeat all his opponents and even slay a Nirvana-level cultivator? Even though he had cultivated up to such a high level, Wu Yong still had to be in awe of Yi Futian. If he had been in the middle of that solar wind, he would be swallowed up easily. The world grew darker. The black hole seemed bottomless as it violently swallowed up the sun. Yi Futian was sitting there cross-legged. He seemed to have entered into the sun as well. It was a shocking scene. At that moment, all of his thoughts were focused on a bead of flame spirit. Up to that point, he had known what it was, but now he was sure that it was similar to what had been within Feishue. It contained truly frightening power. Moreover, his life spirit was resonating with it. He did not know who had granted this life spirit. Endless leaves and branches sprouted from Yi Futian as he sat in the sun, covering everything. They stretched out to the center of the sun and entered into its spiritual will. They were continuously destroyed and reborn. They inexorably stretched towards the bead of flame spirit and seemed to be devouring the power within it bit by bit. They seemed to be automatically refining it. However, that thing that seemed like a bead of spirit was devouring all the flames in the area at the same time. Even the will that he had already refined was being sucked in. He could not stop it. He could only feel himself sitting inside the sun, but his world tree life spirit was rolling the bead of flame spirit towards him, bit by bit. Yi Futian's heart was beating wildly. It seemed that all the fire in the world was being sucked in. It looked like he was the black hole. But Yi Futian understood that this was not something that he could do with his power. What was more frightening was that he could sense the image of Emperor Kwa being swallowed up by the sun as well. At that moment, the figure became extremely clear. It was as if it was formed out of Emperor Kwa's actual will. But at the same time, it was being swallowed up by the terrible vortex, bit by bit. In the outside world, everything was becoming darker and darker, until there was almost no light. All the light was being swallowed up by the black hole. The cultivators of the Wu tribe stood there, not moving, letting the wind blow by them and rustled their clothing, which made a rustling sound. The wind was burning hot. "Wu Yong," came a voice from the darkness. Wu Yong's eyes were like flames. He looked into the darkness. It was like looking into an eclipse. "I'm here," answered Wu Yong. He could naturally tell that the voice had come from Yi Futian in the heart of the storm. "Catch," came Yi Futian's voice again. Brilliant light appeared in the sky. Wu Yong could faintly see a figure standing up there. It looked like the figure of Emperor Kwa. The figure rushed into his body like a beam of light. Terrible flames of the Wei burned across his body, like the fire of the gods. It was so dazzling that he had to shut his eyes. He let the flames burn across him. He felt like his body would burn away to nothing. His aura seemed to be gradually weakening as if he was being reduced to an ordinary person. It seemed that he would be burned to death by the fire of the Great Path. But at the moment when he reached his weakest point, a more powerful flame flared up, lighting went up the sky. Brilliant flames shot up from Wu Yong's body through the darkness, reaching the clouds. His eyes became even more dazzling as they turned into flames. Nirvana! Behind him, the cultivators of the Wu tribe's hearts trembled as they beheld this scene. Now that the elder of the Wu tribe had fallen, Wu Yong was inheriting his position. Had Yi Futian killed one Nirvana-level cultivator and granted the power of Nirvana to another? Of course, this was not done solely by Yi Futian's power. Wu Yong's level was very close to that of Nirvana already, and now both his will and his mind were being washed clean, allowing him to break through to the next level and become a Nirvana-level saint, the final step on the divine path. "Thank you, Lord Yi," said Wu Yong clearly. His Nirvana aura swept out, no weaker than the one that had slain the Wu tribe elder. He looked up towards Yi Futian and saw a powerful beam of light that stung his eyes. None of them could see anything. In the next moment, the world became dark, and Sun Castle disappeared completely. However, after this moment, there was another powerful beam of light that descended from the sun. Everyone opened their eyes and looked around them. It seemed that they could not believe their eyes. Sun Castle had disappeared, and the sun that hung high in the sky was no longer the sun of Sun Castle, but the sun of the Crimson Dragon realm. The wind blew, still a little bit hot, but nothing like it had been earlier. They knew that Sun Castle had disappeared. And not only Sun Castle, all of the ruins of the ancestral lands had disappeared as if they had never existed. Everything that had just happened seemed like a dream. Up ahead, a figure was walking towards them. The cultivators looked at him, and a look of shock came over their faces. Yi Futian seemed to have changed, but they could not quite tell how. Everything looked the same. It was impossible to imagine that the man who had just devoured a son was the white-haired youth before them. "Lord Yi," called Wu Yong. He and the other Wu tribe cultivators were looking at Yi Futian completely differently from before. Their visit had deeply moved them to the ruins. "Congratulations on breaking through to the Nirvana level, elder," said Yi Futian with a smile. Wu Yong shook his head and was about to say something, but he seemed to feel something, and so he did not open his mouth. Instead, he turned and looked off into the distance and a group of figures coming towards them through the sky. They were the cultivators of the 9 tribes and the 8 cultivators that Yi Futian had defeated. All the cultivators from the 9 tribes were watching them keenly. They swept their gazes over Yi Futian and the rest of them. The cultivator from the Zhu tribe was the first to speak. What happened, Wu Yong? None of them were calm at that point. The ancestral lands had disappeared. What had happened after they had opened the gate? We are not sure, answered Wu Yong directly. You don't know. The Zhong tribe cultivator frowned. Wu Yong had stepped into the ancestral lands, and he said he did not know what had happened there. Yin Tianjiao and Duan Wuji were looking at Yi Futian. Could it be that this guy had found whatever it was that Emperor Kwa had left behind in the ancestral lands? And they were not the only ones wondering this. The others were looking at Yi Futian as well, including the cultivators from the other 8 tribes. Yi Futian was the one who had opened the gate to the ancestral lands. If not him, then who? The cultivator from the Zhu tribe seemed to notice something, and so he suddenly asked, "Where is your elder?" The others all noticed as well. The Wu tribe was missing a member, and that member was their elder. He seemed to have vanished into thin air. Off in the distance, there was the sound of more people flying. More cultivators flashed over. It was the crowd of people who had been waiting outside for several months. The people of the 8 other tribes and the cultivators of other forces all descended. Xia Qingyuan and Shen Tianzhan had naturally come as well. They flashed over and descended beside Yi Futian. They could feel that the atmosphere here was a little mysterious. Wu Yong faced the crowd and said, "The elder acted rashly. He tried to seize Emperor Kwa's inheritance in the ruins, and so he was swallowed up. He died at the hands of Emperor Kwa's flames of the way. After that, the world changed and all of it disappeared, just like you all saw." Although the 9 tribes often invited people to open the gate to the ancestral lands, they never thought of giving away what Emperor Kwa had left behind. If Yi Futian was strong enough, he could deter anyone, and even become the head of the 9 tribes. But at that point, Yi Futian's level was not high enough. If the 9 tribes knew that he had received Emperor Kwa's inheritance, they would not let him go. They would have to make him give it up or take him from it at any cost. Moreover, at that moment, none of them knew what had happened in any detail. The cultivator from the Zhu tribe looked at Wu Yong and said, "Wu Yong, do you think anyone will believe what you are saying?" Yi Futian and the Wu tribe were not the first ones to open the gate to the ancestral lands. He had been in there as well, and he knew what it was like inside. Now the ancestral lands had disappeared, seeming to fly away like ash and smoke. Wu Yong was telling him that there was no reason for this. It had just disappeared. Was that possible? And Wu Yong, you have not cultivated to a high enough level. He stared at Wu Yong, and a powerful pressure stretched out from him. But Wu Yong was now at the nirvana level. Everyone could naturally feel it. Their gazes all fell upon Yi Futian. "Lord Yi, did the ancestral lands disappear because of you? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible." Yi Futian looked up to the warrior of Zhu clan and said, laughing, "Since I was the one who opened the door of the ancestral lands and came inside with warriors of Wu clan, of course, I am related to the disappearance of ancestral lands no matter what reason." Yi Futian looked up to the warrior of Zhu clan and said, laughing, "Since I was the one who opened the door of the ancestral lands and came inside with warriors of Wu clan, of course, I am related to the disappearance of ancestral lands no matter what reason. It's just I still have no idea how I got related. I received teachings from Emperor Kwa and passed it to Senior Wu Yong. I did what I was supposed to do, and what you saw is all that happened." There was no way he could tell that his life spirit had devoured the sun otherwise. The crisis he was facing would be not only from the 9 clans. Until now, he still had no idea what the dazzling fire spirit orb in the sun was. But at least he was sure that it was the base of Emperor Kwa's relics, which had devoured the whole ancestral lands. It was probably the treasure used by Emperor Kwa for cultivation during his time, which was beyond the saint level. If such a treasure were exposed, many people in Crimson Dragon's realm would covet it. What Lord Yi said is true. I received Emperor Kwa's heritage through Lord Yi and entered the Nirvana plane thanks to it, said Wu Yong, standing beside Yi Futian. Then how do you explain the death of the head of Wu clan? Your excuse was not convincing at all, said a burly middle-aged man of Zhu clan, his eyes blazing with anger. Yi Futian was invited by Wu Yong to join the Wu clan, but then Wu clan betrayed them. They hadn't settled it with them yet. But now Wu Yong and the people of Wu clan all seemed to be on Yi Futian's side. The thing was too coincidental. What was truth hidden behind it? How did the head of Wu clan die? Wu Yong stared at him. His pupils turned red, and the horrifying will directly swept out of his eyes and rushed into that Zhu clan warrior's mind. The warrior was of unblemished plain and suddenly turned pale when the shock came. He let out a low groan and took a step back. You want to know? Said Wu Yong coldly. After Lord Yi helped us enter the site, the head wanted to take Emperor Kwa's heritage as his own and kill Lord Yi but got devoured and died. Do you like the answer? The place suddenly went quiet after Wu Yong said the words. He didn't elaborate on the process, but top figures of all clans could roughly figure out what had happened. Especially the ones who had entered the ancestral lands understood what he meant, since they had similar thoughts too. It was just that Yi Futian looked like a tough guy. He killed a Nirvana saint using the Renhuang will. Your head died because of him, but you don't seem to care at all, that warrior of Zhu clan, who had stepped back, said coldly. Everyone needs to be responsible for their own choice, so does our head. I invited Lord Yi to join the Wu clan. After the ancestral land was opened, the thought of killing came to the head's mind. I will not judge who is right or wrong here, but I think you have your answer, said Wu Yong calmly. As for the Wu clan, from now on, I, Wu Yong, will serve as the head. Very good, the head of Zhu clan walked up and said. The life force from his body was almost intimidating. It exerted huge pressure over everyone. He looked toward Wu Yong and said, I will leave the death of the ex-head of Zhu clan. The ancestral lands have been the common heritage of we 9 clans for many years, but now it just disappeared. Wu Yong, shouldn't you give us an explanation? I have no idea why the ancestral lands disappeared, but if Lord Yi indeed unlocked the secret left by Emperor Kwa and became Emperor Kwa's inheritor, shouldn't the 9 clans follow the clan doctrine and obey Yi Futian's order? Said Wu Yong. The head of Zhu clans stared at him fiercely after he asked the question. There was indeed such a clan doctrine in the 9 clans. But how could the 9 clans let their people submit to Yi Futian and listen to his order? The heads of the 9 clans were all of Nirvana Plain. They were the lords who ruled the west land of Crimson Dragon's realm. If Yi Futian unlocked the secret treasure left by Emperor Kwa, should they choose to steal from him or to submit to him? Such a simple question that everyone should have an answer to. He didn't need to overthink it. If Lord Yi made it, will the 9 clans agree to submit? If not, why do you keep asking? Continued Wu Yong. Since the 9 clans invited all warriors, they are here to help us. Now the site has disappeared, and we should put an end to all this. No warriors had expected Wu Yong would defend for Yi Futian like this. Xia Qingyuan and others had figured out what the whole story was like. It was simple and banal. So you mean we 9 clans shouldn't even ask about the disappearance of the ancestral lands? Just let it go? A warrior of the Chong clan also said in a slightly hostile tone. The death of the head of the Wu clan was Wu clan's own business. They could ignore it. But how could they easily let go of ancestral lands left by Emperor Kwa? What do you want to do? Asked Xia Qingyuan, standing next to Yi Futian in a cold voice. It sounded like the 9 clans were reluctant to let Yi Futian go. Lord Yi, please stay in Emperor Kwa's city to cooperate with the 9 clans' investigation into the thing that happened in ancestral lands. If our investigation proves it is not related to you, then we will see you off, said one person. Xia Qingyuan released the cold will from her body. Letting Yi Futian stay? She was certain that Yi Futian had gotten something, and warriors of all clans must have known something about it. Obviously, they wanted to mug Yi Futian for what he got in the Emperor Kwa's sight. Once they did it, they would wipe him out. Of course, he couldn't stay here. Go away, said Xia Qingyuan cold. She released the cold will. She said, we were invited to come to the ancestral lands and open the door for you. Is this how you treat us? A gust of will befell after the two words, "Go away," came out of her mouth. Warriors of clans thought to themselves that no wonder the princess of Emperor Xia's realm could be so arrogant. But even though they were not afraid that Nirvana Plain warriors of Emperor Xia's realm would come, they didn't dare to touch Xia Qingyuan. If they touched the daughter of Renhuang and Emperor Xia came for revenge, that would be beyond Emperor Crimson Dragon's governance. Yi Futian also looked cold. He had already expected the way all these clans behaved. From their point of view, of course, they wanted to take Emperor Kua's treasure as their own. It was because they couldn't take it that they invited them. The atmosphere became quite depressing. Shen Tianzhan appeared in front of Yi Futian. He stood with Wu Yong. Both of them were of Nirvana Plain. However, compared with the other 8 clans, their power seemed not worth mentioning. "Lord Yi, you are placing us in a difficult situation," said the warrior of Zhu clan slowly. "Is this your way of treating guests?" At that moment, a voice came. Many people followed the voice and expressed surprise when they saw the speaker. The one who asked the question was the prince of Emperor Dong's palace, Duan Wuji. The people of the clans didn't expect he would say something. A warrior of Chong clan said to Duan Wuji, "Your Highness, the issue is about the ancestral lands of our 9 clans. We must be cautious about this thing." The Chong clan used to collaborate with the Emperor Dong's palace. This time they didn't want to offend Duan Wuji. Since Duan Wuji's power was not in other realms, he was the Renhuang power, which ruled the East Land in Crimson Dragon's realm. Duan Wuji flashed a smile and said, "We were invited to unlock the secret of Emperor Kua's relic, but today, it seems that even if one of us succeeds, you will still not let him go. It doesn't sound like cooperation. If I were the one who had made it, perhaps I would be the one who had to face the situation today." The person of Chong clan didn't know how to reply after listening to Duan Wuji's words. If Duan Wuji had been the person who opened the secret of the ancestral lands, would they force him to stay? "Everybody, just let that be the end," Duan Wuji said calmly. Even Yi Futian took a glance at him in surprise. He didn't expect that Duan Wuji would speak for him. During the Battle of Ancestral Lands, Duan Wuji was defeated by Yi Futian and got burned by his flame of the way. "Your Highness, this thing is related to the future of our 9 clans," said the warrior of the Chong clan. Obviously, he still didn't want to let it go even though Duan Wuji had expressed his attitude. "As far as I know, if there were no external assistance, the 9 clans would not be able to step inside the ancestral lands," said Duan Wuji. "If the 9 clans were indeed so altruistic, how about you work together and share Emperor Kua's heritage with all of us?" "Your Highness, this thing is not Emperor Dong's palace's business," said the head of Zhu clan. "Since I am on the trip, of course, I am involved in this," said Duan Wuji. "He's right. Since we were invited to the ancestral lands, we are related. Let's leave the issue aside in case the prestige of the 9 clans is affected," another voice said. People of clans all frowned. The speaker was another Renhuang descendant, Emperor Wu's princess Yin Tianjiao. The two were Yi Futian's strongest competitors but were all defeated by him. Now they both spoke for Yi Futian. Was it out of respect between heroes? People of clans began to look uneasy. People from Emperor Xia's realm, warriors of Thousand Leaves City, Wu Yong, and others from Wu clan, besides the powers of 2 Renhuang realms, such a team was awesome enough. Xia Qingyuan saw Yin Tianjiao talk and took a look at Yi Futian. Yi Futian had a strange expression on his face, too. Obviously, the thing was also out of his expectations. Yin Tianjiao showed no mercy to him in ancestral lands. Who could expect today both warriors could speak for him? Chapter 1249. Expressing attitudes, Yi Futian looked up to the warrior of Zhu clan and said, laughing, "Since I was the one who opened the door of the ancestral lands and came inside with warriors of Wu clan, of course, I am related to the disappearance of ancestral lands no matter what reason. It's just I still have no idea how I got related. I received teachings from Emperor Kua and passed it to Senior Wu Yong. I did what I was supposed to do, and what you saw is all that happened." There was no way he could tell that his life spirit had devoured the sun, otherwise, the crisis he was facing would be not only from the 9 clans. Until now, he still had no idea what the dazzling fire spirit orb in the sun was. But at least he was sure that it was the base of Emperor Kua's relics. which had devoured the whole ancestral lands. It was probably the treasure used by Emperor Kwa for cultivation during his time, which was beyond the saint level. If such a treasure were exposed, many people in Crimson Dragon's realm would covet it. What Lord Yi said is true. I received Emperor Kwa's heritage through Lord Yi and entered the Nirvana plane thanks to it, said Wu Yong, standing beside Yi Futian. Then how do you explain the death of the head of Wu clan? Your excuse was not convincing at all, said a burly middle-aged man of Zhu clan, his eyes blazing with anger. Yi Futian was invited by Wu Yong to join the Wu clan, but then Wu clan betrayed them. They hadn't settled it with them yet. But now Wu Yong and the people of Wu clan all seemed to be on Yi Futian's side. The thing was too coincidental. What was truth hidden behind it? How did the head of Wu clan die? Wu Yong stared at him. His pupils turned red, and the horrifying will directly swept out of his eyes and rushed into that Zhu clan warrior's mind. The warrior was of unblemished plain and suddenly turned pale when the shock came. He let out a low groan and took a step back. You want to know? Said Wu Yong coldly. After Lord Yi helped us enter the site, the head wanted to take Emperor Kwa's heritage as his own and kill Lord Yi but got devoured and died. Do you like the answer? The place suddenly went quiet after Wu Yong said the words. He didn't elaborate on the process, but top figures of all clans could roughly figure out what had happened. Especially the ones who had entered the ancestral lands understood what he meant, since they had similar thoughts too. It was just that Yi Futian looked like a tough guy. He killed a Nirvana saint using the Renhuang will. Your head died because of him, but you don't seem to care at all, that warrior of Zhu clan, who had stepped back, said coldly. Everyone needs to be responsible for their own choice, so does our head. I invited Lord Yi to join the Wu clan. After the ancestral land was opened, the thought of killing came to the head's mind. I will not judge who is right or wrong here, but I think you have your answer, said Wu Yong calmly. As for the Wu clan, from now on, I, Wu Yong, will serve as the head. Very good, the head of Zhu clan walked up and said. The life force from his body was almost intimidating. It exerted huge pressure over everyone. He looked toward Wu Yong and said, I will leave the death of the ex-head of Zhu clan. The ancestral lands have been the common heritage of we 9 clans for many years, but now it just disappeared. Wu Yong, shouldn't you give us an explanation? I have no idea why the ancestral lands disappeared, but if Lord Yi indeed unlocked the secret left by Emperor Kwa and became Emperor Kwa's inheritor, shouldn't the 9 clans follow the clan doctrine and obey Yi Futian's order? Said Wu Yong. The head of Zhu clan stared at him fiercely after he asked the question. There was indeed such a clan doctrine in the 9 clans. But how could the 9 clans let their people submit to Yi Futian and listen to his order? The heads of the 9 clans were all of Nirvana Plain. They were the lords who ruled the west land of Crimson Dragon's realm. If Yi Futian unlocked the secret treasure left by Emperor Kwa, should they choose to steal from him or to submit to him? Such a simple question that everyone should have an answer to. He didn't need to overthink it. If Lord Yi made it, will the 9 clans agree to submit? If not, why do you keep asking? Continued Wu Yong. Since the 9 clans invited all warriors, they are here to help us. Now the site has disappeared, and we should put an end to all this. No warriors had expected Wu Yong would defend for Yi Futian like this. Xia Qingyuan and others had figured out what the whole story was like. It was simple and banal. So you mean we 9 clans shouldn't even ask about the disappearance of the ancestral lands? Just let it go? A warrior of the Chong clan also said in a slightly hostile tone. The death of the head of the Wu clan was Wu clan's own business. They could ignore it. But how could they easily let go of ancestral lands left by Emperor Kwa? What do you want to do? Asked Xia Qingyuan, standing next to Yi Futian in a cold voice. It sounded like the 9 clans were reluctant to let Yi Futian go. Lord Yi, please stay in Emperor Kwa's city to cooperate with the 9 clans' investigation into the thing that happened in ancestral lands. If our investigation proves it is not related to you, then we will see you off, said one person. Xia Qingyuan released the cold will from her body. Letting Yi Futian stay? She was certain that Yi Futian had gotten something, and warriors of all clans must have known something about it. Obviously, They wanted to mug Yi Futian for what he got in the Emperor Qua's sight. Once they did it, they would wipe him out. Of course, he couldn't stay here. Go away, said Xia Qingyuan cold. She released the cold will. She said, we were invited to come to the ancestral lands and open the door for you. Is this how you treat us? A gust of will befell after the two words, go away, came out of her mouth. Warriors of clans thought to themselves that no wonder the princess of Emperor Xia's realm could be so arrogant. But even though they were not afraid that Nirvana Plain warriors of Emperor Xia's realm would come, they didn't dare to touch Xia Qingyuan. If they touched the daughter of Renhuang and Emperor Xia came for revenge, that would be beyond Emperor Crimson Dragon's governance. Yi Futian also looked cold. He had already expected the way all these clans behaved. From their point of view, of course, they wanted to take Emperor Qua's treasure as their own. It was because they couldn't take it that they invited them. The atmosphere became quite depressing. Shen Tianzhan appeared in front of Yi Futian. He stood with Wu Yong. Both of them were of Nirvana Plain. However, compared with the other 8 clans, their power seemed not worth mentioning. Lord Yi, you are placing us in a difficult situation, said the warrior of Zhu clan slowly. Is this your way of treating guests? At that moment, a voice came. Many people followed the voice and expressed surprise when they saw the speaker. The one who asked the question was the prince of Emperor Dong's palace, Duan Wuji. The people of the clans didn't expect he would say something. A warrior of Chong clan said to Duan Wuji, Your Highness, the issue is about the ancestral lands of our 9 clans. We must be cautious about this thing. The Chong clan used to collaborate with the Emperor Dong's palace. This time they didn't want to offend Duan Wuji. Since Duan Wuji's power was not in other realms, he was the Renhuang power, which ruled the East Land in Crimson Dragon's realm. Duan Wuji flashed a smile and said, We were invited to unlock the secret of Emperor Qua's relic, but today, it seems that even if one of us succeeds, you will still not let him go. It doesn't sound like cooperation. If I were the one who had made it, perhaps I would be the one who had to face the situation today. The person of Chong clan didn't know how to reply after listening to Duan Wuji's words. If Duan Wuji had been the person who opened the secret of the ancestral lands, would they force him to stay? Everybody, just let that be the end, Duan Wuji said calmly. Even Yi Futian took a glance at him in surprise. He didn't expect that Duan Wuji would speak for him. During the Battle of Ancestral Lands, Duan Wuji was defeated by Yi Futian and got burned by his flame of the way. Your Highness, this thing is related to the future of our 9 clans, said the warrior of the Chong clan. Obviously, he still didn't want to let it go even though Duan Wuji had expressed his attitude. As far as I know, if there were no external assistance, the 9 clans would not be able to step inside the ancestral lands, said Duan Wuji. If the 9 clans were indeed so altruistic, how about you work together and share Emperor Qua's heritage with all of us? Your Highness, this thing is not Emperor Dong's palace's business, said the head of Zhu clan. Since I am on the trip, of course, I am involved in this, said Duan Wuji. He's right. Since we were invited to the ancestral lands, we are related. Let's leave the issue aside in case the prestige of the 9 clans is affected, another voice said. People of clans all frowned. The speaker was another Renhuang descendant, Emperor Wu's princess Yin Tianjiao. The two were Yi Futian's strongest competitors but were all defeated by him. Now they both spoke for Yi Futian. Was it out of respect between heroes? People of clans began to look uneasy. People from Emperor Xia's realm, warriors of Thousand Leaves City, Wu Yong, and others from Wu clan, besides the powers of 2 Renhuang realms, such a team was awesome enough. Xia Qingyuan saw Yin Tianjiao talk and took a look at Yi Futian. Yi Futian had a strange expression on his face, too. Obviously, the thing was also out of his expectations. Yin Tianjiao showed no mercy to him in ancestral lands. Who could expect today both warriors could speak for him? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. The atmosphere in this space felt kind of weird. Suddenly, everyone fell silent. The atmosphere in this space felt kind of weird. Suddenly, everyone fell silent. The people who were present today were from everywhere in the world. The 9 clans and the warriors, who were invited by them, all had different thoughts. Even the 9 clans were not completely united. For example, Wu Yong was on Yi Futian's side. You're right. Since Lord Yi was invited to the ancestral lands, we should respect what happened in the ancestral lands. If we have to investigate, Lord Yi obtained the secret of Emperor Kwa, so is everyone willing to let him lead the 9 clans? At that moment, another voice came. This time, even the warrior of the Zhu clan couldn't help but squint his eyes and see the one who was talking. The speaker was the head of one of the 9 clans, the Bailey clan. He didn't agree to look into the case, either. Inside the 9 clans, 2 clans had shown their agreement. Yi Futian just stood there quietly and witnessed the scene. He saw each one show their attitude and thought that, since all these big figures had their own thoughts and competition within the 9 clans was severe, it was likely that the Zhu clan and the Chong clan wanted to prosecute him because they wanted to get the secret from him. Other clans also had their own thoughts. They might not be united as one. In terms of power, the Bailey clan was just average among the 9 clans. However, the current situation seemed like even though the other 7 clans wanted to prosecute him, they would not be able to do it. The head of the Zhurong clan with vigorous life force took a glance at the crowd, a glance at warriors of the Wu clan and Bailey clan, and then a glance at Duan Wuji and Yin Tianjiao. He let out a laugh, then started talking. Since you said so, I will not insist on it, but it doesn't mean I will put it to an end. Some things have to be figured out. After saying that, he turned around and said, gesturing to his people, let's go. Warriors of the Zhu clan followed him and left. Seeing them leaving, warriors of other clans no longer insisted and gradually all returned to their respective clans. Many people of Crimson Dragon Realm gathered and watched the scene from a distance. Although the incidents had temporarily ended, Yi Futian probably obtained a lot from the relics of Emperor Kwa. However, it would be far from putting an end to it. Today, although Duan Wuji of Emperor Dong's palace and Princess Yin Tianjiao of Emperor Wu had expressed their attitudes, it might simply have been because they didn't agree with the 9 clans today. They would not stay with Yi Futian forever so that Yi Futian couldn't be secure all the time. If later anything happened, Emperor Dong's palace and Emperor Wu's realm would not intervene. Yi Futian watched the people of clans leaving. His eyes were frozen straight ahead. He looked into the distance, absorbed in thought. What happened? Asked Xia Qingyuan. Nothing, said Yi Futian, who soon distracted himself from the thought. He cupped his hands as a salute and said to Duan Wuji and Yin Tianjiao, smiling, I should thank you both for your support. I don't like their attitude. Don't need to take them seriously, said Duan Wuji with a lazy smile. I still want to test your real strength if there is an opportunity. They only used the will of flame and forging to fight when they were in the ancestral lands, which could not reflect their real strengths. Although Emperor Dong's palace was good at the god-devouring fire, the art of flame was only one of their cultivation methods. He was aware of it, so was Yi Futian. Nobody had expected Yi Futian would win, because they had no idea of Yi Futian's real strength, not to mention his attainment of flame art. Now his attainment of flame art had been proved to be strong. His ability in other areas shouldn't be weak either. If there were a chance, he would want to test how strong the Thousand Leaves City Lord's real strength was. Good, said Yi Futian, nodding with a smile. Duan Wuji left with his people. Yin Tianjiao took a glance at him and turned around without saying anything. Yi Futian didn't keep it in mind, but Xia Qingyuan had a strange look on her face and looked at Yi Futian with her beautiful eyes. Why are you looking at me? Asked Yi Futian. He felt something weird. Why did she look at him like that? Nothing, said Xia Qingyuan. She turned her eyes away. Let's leave as soon as possible. After all, the Westland belonged to the 9 clans. Yi Futian nodded and looked toward Wu Yong, asking, Sir, will the Zhu clan bring trouble to you? The Wu clan used to depend on the Zhu clan indirectly, but now they had turned on them. Maybe the Zhu clan would seek revenge. The possibility was not low. Wu Yong slightly frowned. Obviously, he had such worry too. Yi Futian looked toward the people surrounding him and said, I was invited by the current head of Wu clan, Wu Yong, to enter Emperor Kwa's relics and obtain his heritage. During this trip, I received a lot of care from Sir Wu Yong. If one day, the Wu clan is attacked by any other clans because of this, I, Yi Futian, will regard it as the 9 clans' injustice and make Emperor Kwa's heritage open to the world. His words stirred people. How dare this guy threaten the 9 clans? Emperor Kwa's heritage was stored in the ancestral lands and could only be obtained after entering the ancestral lands. There were several clans among the 9 clans who hadn't obtained it yet. However, Yi Futian now declared he might reveal the heritage to the world, which the 9 clans would definitely not allow. Of course, if the 9 clans don't do so, I will carefully guard the heritage and return it to the 9 clans and leak it to no one, continued Yi Futian. The warriors of the Bailey clan looked toward Yi Futian. The head of the Bailey clan said, "The 9 clans are supposed to be united as one. The Bailey clan will not sit by and watch as inner conflict happens. After hearing what you said, I feel much relieved. Thank you very much for your help this time. If the cultivators of the Bailey clan can spare time, please come visit the Thousand Leaf City," said Yi Futian. "Currently, I have only passed the heritage to the Wu clan, but if the 9 clans can be united as one and won't separate, I welcome all cultivators follow the Wu clan cultivators and come discuss the cultivation of fire art with me." Obviously, Yi Futian was indicating that he was eager to return the favor since the Bailey clan had helped him. Yi Futian was not a selfish person. Besides, Emperor Kwa's heritage was supposed to belong to the 9 clans. He would have no complaints if he passed it to someone he could trust. Making friends was better than making enemies. Of course, if the head of Bailey clan were like the head of Wu clan or the Zhu clan, things would be different. "Great. I will come to visit Lord Yi in Thousand Leaves City one day," said the head of Bailey clan. He offered help to Yi Futian because of this. Besides, according to Emperor Kwa's doctrine, Yi Futian had the right to rule over the 9 clans if he had really obtained everything. It was just because he was still young, and his plane was not high enough to convince others that the Nirvana plane leaders of the 9 clans wouldn't accept his rule. The Bailey clan was not willing to see his rule either, but it didn't mean they didn't want to tie the bond with him now. Given the talent Yi Futian had shown on this trip, even though his current plane was low, in the future, he might become a figure like Emperor Kwa. If that day came, he might as well lead the Bailey clan since he had inherited Emperor Kwa's relics. "I should leave now, sir," said Yi Futian with a salute. "Lord Yi, please take care," said the head of Bailey clan. Yi Futian then said farewell to Wu Yong and left with his people. In the void sky, everyone thought that this guy might have again plundered Emperor Kwa's ancestral lands. Xia Qingyuan took a look at him and sent the message. "What did you do? How did you make their ancestral lands disappear?" "Nothing, just with luck," replied Yi Futian. For him, being able to unlock the gate of ancestral lands meant he was capable of inheriting the Emperor Kwa's path. As for what he did after that, he had just depended on his luck, life spirit, and the Emperor's will. Otherwise, he would not have devoured the spirit orb in the sun. Xia Qingyuan gave him a stare. Why did no one else have luck as good as his? Besides, it was not the first time that he got good luck. "Then what did you obtain?" Xia Qingyuan asked bluntly. Perhaps she thought she and Yi Futian were close enough so she could ask like this. Otherwise, she should have avoided asking about Renawang's secret, just like Shen Tianzhan and others did. Of course, Yi Futian knew it too. Xia Qingyuan was not interested in occupying what he got. "I don't know either." A strange expression suddenly flashed across Yi Futian's face. In his life palace, the world tree turned a crimson color. A blazing orb was floating in his life spirit, and the life spirit was devouring its energy bit by bit. Above the life spirit world tree, Yi Futian's sun spirit was greedily swallowing the life force of the flame and becoming more dazzling. What pissed Yi Futian off was that he had forged many wills, including some wisps of Renhuang wills. Even though they were not his ability, he could use them to fight and threaten opponents of higher planes. But now they were all devoured. The orb in the sun was like an abyss. When it was triggered, the whole relics was devoured, and the sky and earth disappeared. All the wills Yi Futian had forged were all swallowed by it. Yi Futian's heart was bleeding. The energy of this thing was horrifying. No doubt that Imperial Advisor once tried all methods, even including putting Fei Shui to sleep, to suppress the thing in her body, in case she exploded and died. If the treasure indeed exploded, no one knew how terrifying the outcome would be. According to her plane, Fei Shui was unable to endure it. Thinking about Fei Shui, Yi Futian didn't know where Yen Yuan and others were in Crimson Dragon Realm. They must have reached and been cultivating somewhere. Imperial Advisor was imprisoned in Dali Imperial Palace. Yen Yuan and Fei Shui must be working hard to level up their skills. After Yi Futian and others reached Thousand Leaves City, the news began to sweep across the Crimson Dragon Realm and spread to other realms. Lord Yi Futian of Thousand Leaves City not only inherited Emperor Qua's path but also unlocked the Emperor Qua's ancient secret and let Emperor Qua's relics directly disappeared. It was said that the treasure obtained by Yi Futian was probably of Renhuang level. The news immediately caused a sensation after being released. Even the Crimson Dragon Realm and cities around the Crimson Dragon Realm came to know about it. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Yi Futian had been cultivating in seclusion after returning to Thousand Leaves City. Yi Futian had been cultivating in seclusion after returning to Thousand Leaves City. He knew this thing would bring about a new tumult. Not to mention that the 9 clans would not just let him go. Many top figures in Crimson Dragon Realm must also have wanted to take it as their own. Nobody knew what he had obtained, and that was why they were more curious about it. Besides, since receiving the Emperor Qua's cultivation law before entering the relics, everyone was speculating. What thing did Emperor Qua leave that was even more precious than his heritage of cultivation path? The world of cultivators was always cruel. Few people were willing to offer help, but many people were waiting to kick someone when that person was down or benefited from other people's misery. As long as someone wanted to lay a hand on him, other people would soon join the pillage. Yi Futian's thought was not wrong. Now, there were voices outside saying that although Emperor Xia's realm supported Yi Futian, a Renhuang realm would not bring a big surge in Crimson Dragon Realm. As long as Xia Qingyuan was safe, Emperor Xia's realm wouldn't take action. If many people wanted to lay a hand on Yi Futian at the same time, even Emperor Xia wouldn't do anything. The people who talked about this must have had evil intentions, but such remarks were also frank. If a lot of top figures besieged Yi Futian, would Emperor Xia's realm come to challenge the powers of Crimson Dragon Realm? It was impossible. Time flew by, and soon, the year 10024 of Divine Prefecture calendar was near its end. During this period, many people flowed into Thousand Leaves City from everywhere in the world. The city was more bustling than ever before. The newcomers' levels differed, some were strong, and some were weak. As for their reason for coming, everyone knew the answer. In addition, there was another piece of news related to Thousand Leaves City, which caused an uproar in Crimson Dragon City. The news even deterred quite a lot of people who wanted to lay a hand on Yi Futian's treasure and forced them to give up the idea. The news came from the regional palace that a new name would appear in the regional king ranking of this year. And the name belonged to a young person who just came to cultivation in regional palace this year. It was Yu Xing of Thousand Leaves City. He had just come to the regional palace for a few months and entered the regional king ranking. People of Crimson Dragon Realm, of course, all knew the value of regional king ranking. The regional place was the top sacred land for cultivation in Crimson Dragon Realm, and the regional king ranking was perceived as the top ranking in Crimson Dragon Realm. Besides, the candidates were not restricted to be cultivators in the regional palace. All cultivators of Crimson Dragon Realm were included. Every candidate who entered the ranking would attract great attention. The ranking only listed candidates of Saint Plane. Cultivators of all levels of Saint's Plane were welcome and wouldn't be judged by levels. The regional palace had never clarified the judgment standard of regional king palace, which made it look like an unknown amateur ranking. Even so, whenever a new name appeared on the regional king ranking, it would cause an uproar. Before Yu Sheng, there were 17 names on the regional king ranking. Including him, there were only 18 people. These people covered all 4 levels of the Saint Plane. The elder brother of Xing Qiu of the ancient imperial city, Xing Kai, who used to compete with Yu Sheng for the right to enter the regional palace, was also one on the regional king ranking. Although the regional palace had never mentioned what the regional king ranking represented, The people of Crimson Dragon Realm all claimed the ones chosen by the regional king ranking probably would become future Renhuangs of Crimson Dragon Realm. This also meant that the 18 warriors on the regional king ranking had the potential to enter Renhuang Realm. One could tell how meaningful it was that Yusheng entering regional king ranking. It was much harder than entering the regional palace. And so, those who wanted to lay a hand on Yi Futian must think twice about Yusheng's existence. Even if they got rid of Yi Futian, who could beat the person who cultivated in the regional palace, entered the regional king ranking, and might enter the Nirvana plane in the future? Nowadays, all the Nirvana saints on the regional king ranking were almost invincible in the Crimson Dragon Realm. And this cultivator of the regional palace was listed in the regional king ranking. Few people could achieve this in Crimson Dragon Realm. The Emperor Crimson Dragon was the one who stood behind the regional palace. Yi Futian and Yusheng were both extraordinarily talented, and both belonged to Emperor Xia's realm. Thus, many people decided to give up the thought and not get involved, considering these factors. Even if they participated, they might not get anything and even become Yi Futian and Yusheng's enemy, so they'd better choose to become a quiet audience. One day, a guest came to visit the Lord residence and requested to meet Yi Futian. Yi Futian met him, a warrior of Flaming Prison City. This time, Flaming Prison City also participated in the trip to Emperor Qua relics. They acquired the Flame of the Way and entered the relics in cooperation with the Bailey clan. The warrior of the Flame Prison City was clear about all that had happened. In the guest hall of the Lord residence, Yi Futian sat in the host seat. The warrior of the Flaming Prison City said, "Lord Yi, allow me to be straightforward." "Sure. Sir, please speak freely," said Yi Futian, nodding. He didn't like talking in circles, either. This time, during the trip to Emperor Qua relics, Lord Yi demonstrated extraordinary skills and must have gained a lot of relics. Whether it was the cultivation heritage or other secrets left by Emperor Qua, the things have already attracted the attention of many powers in Crimson Dragon Realm. Now, many powers have gathered in Thousand Leaves City, and top agents have all arrived, said the warrior of the Flaming Prison City. Yi Futian listened to him quietly without a reply. The warrior of the Flaming Prison City paused a second, took a look at Yi Futian, and continued, "I would suggest that there is no need for Lord Yi to wait and guard, just as Lord Yi said in the Westland, since the 9 clans will not simply let you go. How about trading Emperor Qua's heritage and secrets with others? If so, all powers can be satisfied, and Lord Yi will also receive bountiful resources for cultivation." His words seemed to have aroused Yi Futian's interest. Yi Futian had to admit that this warrior of the Flaming Prison City indeed provided a solution which could help his situation. If he did so, he could probably solve the current plight. Obviously, the warrior specially came here for this. The warrior continued, "I think Lord Yi has understood what I came here for. Flaming Prison City is willing to take Emperor Qua's heritage at a high cost. Of course, if Lord Yi thinks Flaming Prison City is not capable of affording your price in the future, we can be on your side whenever you have any difficulties, including this time." Yi Futian took a look at him. This time, the Flaming Prison City was quite sincere. If he said yes, from now on he would have one more friend. On the contrary, if he refused, he would very likely push Flaming Prison City and make it become one of the powers who tried to grab his treasure. He tapped his finger on the armrest of the throne. It was indeed an interesting deal he wanted to think over. He would not possibly take out the flame orb devoured by his life spirit, but Emperor Qua's heritage path seemed tradable. However, it didn't seem to be a morally correct thing to do. If he did so, the 9 clans below the Emperor Qua would definitely abhor him and try to eradicate him with all their effort. Yi Futian thought for a moment and soon stopped tapping his finger. He said with a smile, "Sir, I deeply appreciate your kindness. It's just that, although many people of Emperor Qua clans behaved unfairly, I believe it was not every clan member's attitude. The 9 clans will think that since Emperor Qua left the heritage in the ancestral lands, he must have left it to his descendants. I accidentally obtained it, but if I sold it to a random person, that would be extremely disrespectful toward Emperor Qua, His Majesty, and the clans. So," said Yi Futian, smiling, "please try to understand. The warrior paused a second when he saw how resolute Yi Futian was in his rejection, but then he put on a smile without saying anything. Given Yi Futian's personality reflected during the trip to the relics, he guessed Yi Futian should be a man of determination, and since he had declined, there was no point to keep trying to persuade him. If so, we should go now. Sorry to bother you, Lord Yi, said the warrior of Flaming Prison City. Soon he cupped his hand as a courtesy and left. Yi Futian seemed lost in thought for a moment after they left. He didn't know if Flaming Prison City would go to the opposite side. Flaming Prison City was just the beginning. Later, Crimson Cloud City, Yen City, and other top powers, which specialized in flame, all came to visit as if they had a tacit agreement. But their goals were all similar to Flaming Prison Cities. They wanted to get what Emperor Kwa had left in a mild approach. However, they were all declined by Yi Futian. Some people acted politely before they left, but some also left with a hostile attitude. The year was almost over, and news had spread that the Lord residence rejected many people. Many people wondered what Yi Futian was thinking. Was he not worried at all? Even the normal cultivators in Thousand Leaves City had apparently perceived that there were special, powerful cultivators everywhere in Thousand Leaves City. Finally, the year 10024 of Divine Prefecture calendar had come to an end. In the Lord residence of Thousand Leaves City, Yi Futian quietly sat in the courtyard and looked up to the sky. 1 year had passed, and as his cultivation had leveled up, it seemed that time passed even faster. Sometimes, he wouldn't even realize a period of cultivation would take such a long time. Many things had happened this year and had much influence on him. Dali Imperial Advisor was deprived of power and imprisoned in the Emperor Li's palace. Whether Jiyu was alive or dead was unknown, and he didn't know when he could go find her. Currently, he had not been able to have a firm standing in Crimson Dragon Realm, and because of the Emperor Kwa's relic, he roused a huge uproar. But for this, his reaction was quite calm. Maybe he had been used to it. After experiencing so many storms, now his state of mind was as calm as still water when he faced things. Time had changed him a lot. But the only thing that didn't change was that he was more and more eager for real strength as his ability grew. The more powerful he became, the more eager he was for cultivating real strength. At some time, Xia Qingyuan showed up beside Yi Futian and said, "Now the storm and cloud have converged in Thousand Leaves City. Many warriors have actually arrived. Are you ready to deal with them?" "No," replied Yi Futian. Xia Qingyuan looked at him. Yi Futian turned around and smiled at her, saying, "Those who should come will come. Just send our generals to defend against their soldiers. Let our soil soak their blood. They can't raise a big tide. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible." Somewhere in Crimson Dragon Realm, in a courtyard. Somewhere in Crimson Dragon Realm, in a courtyard. At this moment, someone was cultivating. She wore plain clothes, and the life force that emanated from her body was horrifying. There was a kind of mysterious energy like a primitive beast roaring from her body, which elicited the endless law while dripping down from the sky and earth. The whole space was enveloped by a kind of terrible energy and compressed to the extreme. An unclear booming sound came from her fragile body as if the strong power was purging her flesh, bones, and blood. She seemed to be enduring intense fear and looked to be suffering, but she was still holding on. Suddenly, as if a gust of energy went out of control, the flow of all the law will between the sky and earth was disturbed. 2. She spat out blood and ceased cultivating. Her life force was not stable. Even though she tried to restrain the energy in her body, it was still too wild to control. Fei Shui, a person called. So, the cultivating lady was Dali Imperial Advisor's daughter Fei Shui. This group of people had borrowed way from Emperor Xia's palace and had come to Crimson Dragon Realm. They didn't expose their identity and focused on cultivating here. But since they escaped from the Dali Empire, would Emperor Li just let it go? A mysterious power surged from Sir Nanjai's body, which enveloped Fei Shui and retrained the matrix inside her. Only after did the disordered flow gradually calm down. "Second brother, don't worry, I am okay," said Fei Shui to Sir Nanjai. Even though she couldn't see, the smile on her face was still sweet, and she didn't forget to wipe off the blood from her mouth. "Just look how tired you are," said Sir Nanjai. "Fei Shui, your physique is unique, and that thing was in your body. Although it affects you, it also provides you with an extraordinary condition to cultivate. You were born with the body of law, and since you have entered the Saint Plane, you don't need to hurry to achieve anything. Just take your time to cultivate, and your cultivation speed will only be faster than others." "Yes," Fei Shui said, smiling, "I will keep it in mind. Every time you talk like this, but why did you hurt yourself again since you said you would keep it in mind?" a harsh voice asked. Fei Shui turned around to face the speaker. Although she couldn't see the speaker's face, she lowered her head and said in a soft voice, "Elder brother." Yen Yuan looked at her. Although he looked emotionless, he worried a lot about her, but he still talked to her in a serious way. "Fei Shui, I know you are eager to grow, but cultivation is not a thing you can accomplish in a day, otherwise, all your efforts will be in vain. Besides, currently, you are not able to endure the energy in your body. From now on, I will not allow you to cultivate using it." Fei Shui lowered her head and didn't say anything. "Elder brother, don't be too harsh on her." "Fei Shui doesn't want to do it either," said Sir Nanjai to Yen Yuan, but he only met Yen Yuan's sharp eyes. Suddenly, Sir Nanjai turned his head as if he didn't notice. He was older than Yen Yuan, but as the master's disciple, she should call Yen Yuan elder brother. "Fei Shui, master asked me to take care of you. I don't want to see that when we go to see master, he will be fine, but you can't pull through," said Yen Yuan. He didn't want to be so harsh, but Fei Shui was the master's only daughter. For them, an elder brother was like a brother as well as a father. He was like a real senior brother to them. But Fei Shui wanted to level up quickly and deploy the power in his body by force, which was totally out of her control. If anything went wrong and the seal was broken, she would be eternally doomed. "Okay, I see. Sorry, brother," said Fei Shui softly with her head lowered. "Tomorrow will be the beginning of a new year. Don't tire yourself out." Yen Yuan didn't have the heart to keep putting on a serious face. "Yes," said Fei Shui, nodding. "I need to go outside. Nanjai, you and Chunyang, please take care of Fei Shui," said Yen Yuan. Sir Nanjai nodded and said yes. Yen Yuan turned around and walked away. Fei Shui has confusion and asked, "Sir, today is the last day of the year. Shouldn't the elder brother have dinner with us? What is he going to do?" "Nothing. Maybe he is going to find resources for cultivation," said Sir Nanjai in a soft voice. "Okay." Fei Shui nodded and stopped asking. Her father and the brothers were supposed to gather in the imperial advisor's residence and enjoy a simple dinner at the end of each year. They didn't know whether there would be such a day in the future. The year 10025 of Divine Prefecture calendar finally arrived. It was the first day of the year. On this day, a large group of warriors paid an unexpected visit to the Lord residence of Thousand Leaves City and requested to see Yi Futian. The visitors were warriors of the Wu clan, one of the 9 clans in the westland of Crimson Dragon Realm. Wu Yong led the warriors to come here in person. Seeing Wu Yong suddenly come, Yi Futian knew something must have happened and went in front of them. "Lord Yi," Wu Yong saluted, his expression serious. "What brings you here, sir?" asked Yi Futian. "Things went wrong in Wu clan," said Wu Yong. Yi Futian frowned. He had cautioned the Zhu clan that if they dared to touch the Wu clan, he would make the Emperor Qua's heritage open to the world. Even so, the warriors of the Zhu clan still dared to lay a hand on them? Didn't they care about their Renhuang ancestors' heritage? "What happened?" asked Yi Futian. "Lord Yi, when we entered the ancestral lands, there were several elder warriors who were the core figures of the Wu clan entering with us. But as the saying goes, a man's heart is incomprehensible. Now some of them have been enticed by the Zhu clan, probably promised generous rewards. They have betrayed our clan and turned to the Zhu clan," said Wu Yong. Yi Futian's face turned slightly pale. The warriors who entered the ancestral lands were the absolute core of the Wu clan, but even among them, some betrayed the clan. This meant warriors of the Zhu clan or other clans had known what had happened inside the site. During that time, he got into the sun and devoured the whole ancestral lands. The people who witnessed it, of course, knew that there was some unusual thing inside the sun that triggered the vision. Besides, the thing was even more precious than Emperor Kwa's heritage of path. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the most difficult to obtain. All the people of the 9 clans must desire it since it was indeed the ultimate treasure or chance left by a Renhuang. And, on such an occasion, it was very likely that the 9 clans would want to take it back at all costs. What did they do to the Wu clan? Asked Yi Futian. They said I colluded with Lord Yi and killed the ex-head. They also caused an uproar within the Wu clan with the ex-head's followers. The warriors of the Zhu clan and the Chong clan came when we were in trouble and tried to control the Wu clan, swallowing us completely, said Wu Yong. So I had to leave the clan with a group of people and came here. I am afraid they will arrive too. Coldness flashed across Yi Futian's face. He knew that the Zhu clan would not dare to attack the Wu clan for fear of his threat. That was why they tried to disintegrate the Wu clan in such a way to force the Wu clan to yield. Sir, how about you temporarily stay with me? Said Yi Futian. Wu Yong looked toward Yi Futian and asked, Lord Yi, are you sure? This time, since all clans had known about the relics, they must try their best to take the thing back. So the next time, Yi Futian would not only face 1 clan or 1 or 2 Nirvana saints. Even though he had the support of Emperor Xia's realm, it would be hard for him to deal with so many powers. Sir, I remember you said that since I inherited the relics, I should be able to command the 9 clans. Is that true? Asked Yi Futian. Wu Yong gave him a surprised look. What did Yi Futian mean? He should know it well. Even though the ancestral doctrine said so, would the 9 clans really follow it? In principle, it should be so, replied Wu Yong. Good, Yi Futian said, nodding. If so, it was unjust for the 9 clans to attack him. Sir, the Wu clan's crisis is only temporary, said Yi Futian. One day, it will prosper again. Wu Yong was confused, but he still nodded. The trip to ancestral lands made him somewhat understand Yi Futian's personality. In the beginning, he didn't compete with others and even gave way to Yin Tian, but when it was his time to fight, he wouldn't yield to anyone. He only wanted what was supposed to belong to him. The ex-head wanted to take the heritage as his own. So Yi Futian directly enticed him to expose his goal and killed him at once. Yi Futian said so, which meant he had the confidence. Did it mean there were top figures of Emperor Xia's realm staying in Thousand Leaves City right now? Let's go. Take a rest in the residence, said Yi Futian. The group of people followed him and entered the Lord residence. At this moment, outside the Thousand Leaves City, seen from a distance, there was blazing fire force reaching to the sky. A group of warriors was quickly heading toward the Thousand Leaves CIT and stepping across the gate. Local people looked up to the sky and only felt a gust of scorching life force sweeping between the sky and earth. Above the sky dome, golden ravens were crossing the sky. Vermilion birds spread their wings and covered the sun. Sun chariots were loaded with warriors and rushing forward, of which the will trembled in the sky. The intimidating army drove into Thousand Leaves City on the first day of a new year. Suddenly, numerous people in Thousand Leaves City were in shock. We are here, they said to each other. Emperor Kwa's clans in the west land of Crimson Dragon Realm had no leader since the death of Emperor Kwa. Emperor Kwa's heritage, craved by many of them, was obtained by Lord Yi. Now their army has arrived. The Lord residence will be in danger, someone said. They watched the fire deity-like warriors teleporting and heading toward the direction of Lord residence. These days, the top figures of Crimson Dragon Realm had been focusing on the 9 clans' action as well as the Thousand Leaves City. Now all the clans had reached, the top figures of Crimson Dragon Realm had received the message beforehand and was ready to take action. In the following hours, people continued to enter Thousand Leaves City. Suddenly, at the beginning of the year, Thousand Leaves City became a spotlight of the realm where all strong warriors convened. At this moment, a group of warriors was coming in the void air. The one who led the group was Xiang Nan of Xiang City. This time he also brought warriors of Xiang City. The last time they were hard to intervene in the rivalry between Emperor Xia's realm and Emperor Li's realm since it was a battle between 2 Renhuang realms. But this time, they only needed to aim at Yi Futian. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please Please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. In Thousand Leaf City, there were countless people on their way to the Lord residence. In Thousand Leaf City, there were countless people on their way to the Lord residence. Warriors of the Situ clan were heading toward the Lord residence, too. At this moment, a horrifying will came from the void. Situ Yen raised her head and saw a large group of warriors flying across the sky. The sun rays fell on them as if merging in their bodies, extremely dazzling. They are the 9 clans in Emperor Kwa's territory, Situ Yen thought to herself. She felt worried since she had just received the message that the army of the Westland would enter the city, so she hurried to the Lord residence. However, the 9 clans had already passed in front of them. How would the Lord residence go through this battle against these warriors? Situ Yen was a little worried. She heard that when Futian in the Westland, Emperor Kwa's clans didn't lay a hand on him because several warriors who battled with him spoke for him. But this time, they directly broke into the city. It was not likely that they would easily give up. What did that guy take away from them? Said the lord of the Situ clan, Situ Zhong, in a low voice. There was a tinge of worry in his eyes. Confronting such a large lineup, there would be a cruel defeat waiting for Futian if he refused to take the thing out. In recent years, Futian and Yusheng from Emperor Xia's realm had become legendary figures. One of them entered the regional palace and was ranked on the list of regional king ranking. As for Futian, although he didn't have an outstanding grade like Yusheng did, he led the battle between 2 Renhuang realms and defeated so many rivals in Emperor Kwa's ruins. It was said that the regional palace's glory, Emperor Wu's princess Yin Tianjiao and the prince of East Palace, Duan Wuji, was also defeated by him. Although nobody knew what happened in the ruins, it also proved how unusual he was. They had unlimited potential, and their future would not be restricted to Thousand Leaf City. He didn't want to see anything bad happen to them. He wanted to witness their bright future. In the void, more warriors had arrived. The Black Flame clan came here to add trouble too, said Situ Zhong, frowning. He knew many warriors were staying in Thousand Leaf City, especially the ones who were good at flame skills. They should be more interested in Emperor Kwa's treasure. They came so fast. All the people of Thousand Leaf City could feel that an enormous storm would break out in the city. This storm would be no smaller than the battle between 2 Renhuang realms. During the rivalry between 2 Renhuang realms, both sides deployed 4 Nirvana Plane figures, and the warriors covered the whole 8 Saint Planes. But this time, if the 9 clans were all present, there would be 9 Nirvana Plane figures present. And the number 9 did not include Nirvana warriors from Thousand Leaves City and elsewhere. One could see how intimidating the battle lineup was. Thinking about this, many people showed weird looks. Before Futian and others entered Thousand Leaves City, Thousand Leaves City had never experienced a storm like this. Not only in the Thousand Leaves City, but such a storm was also rare in the cities outside Crimson Dragon City. But since Futian came, it had happened again and again. However, in history, the rise of a legendary figure also accompanied crises more serious than anyone else had ever seen. The Thousand Leaves City Lord Futian might be a figure like this. It was just that, this time, would he pass smoothly through the storm? Everything was as usual in the Lord residence. There was no tension at all. Futian even hosted a banquet for the warriors of Wu clan. Besides, the banquet was set in the main palace of the Lord residence, where they could see the scenery in the distance. People of the Lord residence didn't know what he was thinking. He was not worried at all. But Xintianzhan looked quite calm too. He would lend a hand since the Lord residence was in crisis. Since he had promised to stay and be the deputy lord, he would try his best to assist. He expected Futian's growth. Besides, Xintianzhan knew that no matter what the outcome was, at least he would not be in danger. Although he had promised to assist Futian, when it was a moment of life and death, he would not die for Futian. Their friendship hadn't gotten to that stage. Futian knew it well too. There were not many people in this world like Dali Imperial Advisor. At this moment, Wu Yong was telling Futian information about each clan's real strength. In addition to the strongest Nirvana saints, Emperor Kwa's 9 clans also had several unblemished plain warriors. After listening, Yi Futian couldn't help but comment that the 9 clans who ruled the west land of Crimson Dragon Realm indeed had intimidating power. If Emperor Kwa had been alive and led the 9 clans, they would have been equal to one world in Crimson Dragon Realm. The Wu clan had the least number of warriors and was relatively weak, which was the reason they kept being weakened in the political fight of the 9 clans and had to depend on the Zhu clan. The Zhu clan's head Zhu Kong was also a top figure of the 9 clans. Among the 9 Nirvana plane figures of the 9 clans, his level was the most inestimable one, far stronger than the level of Wu clan's ex-head. Even when 2 warriors were of the same plane, there might still be a notable gap between their abilities. Otherwise, how would the Wu clan be willing to depend on them? No wonder, seeing the Wu clan in crisis, some people would rather pledge to Zhu Kong of the Zhu clan than follow you. I somehow understand it after hearing what you said Yi Futian. When the ability of 2 sides was so clearly contrasted, it was unwise to stand with Wu Yong. It was not unusual that Zhu Kong could lead the warriors of the Zhu clan to control the Wu clan. Lord Yi, please forgive our ex-head. Part of the reason he wanted to inherit all left by Emperor Kwa was because of this. The Wu clan, as one of the 9 clans, has been treated as the lowest for many years and was under Zhu Kong's control. He also felt resentful and wanted to reverse the situation when entering the relics, said Wu Yong. Yi Futian nodded. He didn't mind at all. Thinking about the ex-head situation, it was completely understandable that he made such a decision since everyone worked for their own interest. But from Yi Futian's standpoint, since his life was threatened, he had no choice but to eliminate him. Sir, don't worry. As the saying goes, out of the depth of misfortune comes bliss. One day, the Wu clan might unify all the 9 clans, said Yi Futian. Wu Yong took a look at Yi Futian in surprise and said, laughing, I hope the day will come. He then raised his head and looked into the distance. Not only him, but Shen Tianzhan also raised his head and looked into the distance. They are coming, said Wu Yong. Even though the people were still far away, they could still perceive their imposing aura. Yi Futian had not sensed it yet, but he also looked into the distance and said, let's go receive them. He got on his feet and walked from the Lord residence. Others followed him. Yi Futian didn't wait on the ground outside the Lord residence. He stood on a building in front of the residence. Many warriors had converged and surrounded the Lord's residence. They looked up and wondered whether Yi Futian had gotten ready or not. The sky in the distance turned red. A gust of intimidating might swept over. The sun chariot showed up. Zhu Kong sat on the sun chariot, surrounded by countless warriors. The giant group marched forward. Warriors of the 9 clans were all with him, each wrapped in the powerful life force of flame. The void sky seemed to be burning. The fire shot directly toward the direction of the Lord residence from afar. The sun chariot stopped in the upper sky. Warriors of all clans paused too. Their eyes of flame glared in Yi Futian's direction. It was extremely terrifying. There were warriors continually coming from all directions and landing near the Lord's residence. Warriors of the Black Flame clan have arrived. At this moment, a group of people with horrid life force came near. The person who led the group was dressed in a black robe. He was the head of the Black Flame clan. This time, he came in person. The ancestor of the Black Flame clan, Emperor Black Flame, was also a Renhuang. Warriors of the Flame Prison City have also arrived. Another group of people bathed in the dazzling glow of flame came from a different direction. The person who led the group stood relaxed, like a war deity of fire. In the beginning, these powers had visited the Lord's residence, but their suggestions were all rejected by Yi Futian. This time, nobody knew if they came just to watch the battle or join the fight for Emperor Kwa's heritage. Yi Futian, the figure who was standing over the sun chariot in the void sky, called. Bathed in the glare of the sun, he looked like a deity. He was the head of the Zhu clan, Zhu Kong. Emperor Kwa's heritage belongs to ancestral lands of the 9 clans. You colluded with Wu Yong and killed the head of the Wu clan, took away Emperor Kwa's heritage, and made the ancestral lands disappear, undermining the base of the 9 clans, Zhu Kong said in a sonorous voice while looking at Yi Futian. How do you explain this? His words spread across the void sky. Hearing what Zhu Kong said, People could tell that this time, the 9 clans were very confident to take back what Yi Futian had gotten. Besides, Zhu Kong even claimed that Yi Futian colluded with Wu Yong and killed the head of Wu clan, one of the 9 clans. They had declared his sin, which meant their side had justice. This time, they were ready to take away Yi Futian's life. Obviously, the 9 clans knew it too. Since Yi Futian had become their enemy, all they needed to do was to eradicate him, eliminating any potential risks. Zhu Kong, Wu Yong, and other Wu clan warriors around me know better than anyone else how the head of Wu clan died in the ancestral lands. You instigated in the inner conflicts of the Wu clan and tried to annex it. It is not my business, and I am not interested in asking you about things related to the 9 clan, replied Yi Futian coldly when looking at him. But if you insist on targeting me, let me ask you, since you know I have obtained Emperor Kwa's heritage and inherited what Emperor Kwa had left, now I am in front of you, but why don't you bow to me and regard me as your master? Under the boundless sky dome, countless people heard Yi Futian's voice and were shocked. This guy was demanding the head of the Zhu clan call him master when being besieged by the 9 clans? Even Zhu Kong's pupils contracted after hearing this. The horrifying will of blazing flame shot from his eyes and darted toward Yi Futian. You claimed Emperor Kwa's relics belonged to the 9 clans. Why don't you follow Emperor Kwa's last will? Continued Yi Futian. If you don't follow Emperor Kwa's final will and regard me as your master, how dare you challenge me and beg for Emperor Kwa's heritage? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.